From Idaho's News Channel 7, this is Friday Night Football.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome into Friday Night Football. Tust alongside Brady, Frederick. We have hit Week 6, which means the playoffs are officially in sight.
Yeah, not too much left until that SIC championship and non-championship, but an extra game week. A lot to be excited about. A lot of teams are off on the right foot. The Bora Lions are one of those teams. They're going to be joining us in just a couple minutes here in studio.
One of the hottest teams in the state. Lost the first game of the season. Haven't lost since. We're going to visit with them in just a minute. We begin, though, with our game of the week. Time to take the beautiful drive out to Middleton this time of year.
Yeah, another one of the hottest teams in the state. The Timberline Wolves trying to face off with the Middleton Vikings. Their student section is always electric. Timberline with the ball first. Quarterback Jack Brandt scrambling, trying to make the play, but he's actually picked off by the Vikings linebacker Drew Holman on a nice sliding grab. A couple plays later, Holman's going to become the quarterback, give the handoff off to Jake Perez, and then look at this run, going outside, tiptoeing down the sideline for a nice gain, and that would set up this play. It's a wildcat for Perez, this time all the way into the end zone for the score. Middleton takes a 7-0 lead, but T-Line not daunted by that hot start. They get the ball back, and quarterback Jack Brandt keeps the ball going, gets a good chunk here on the run, showing off the shimmies, almost breaks that one off to make it an even further play. A couple plays later, he's going to show off his arm. He rolls out and goes deep, finding wide receiver Hudson Lewis. A nice 30-yard gain, and he gets them set up inside the 5-yard line. From there, running back Sam Hainerer taking the handoff, but he gets bottled up just inside the line of game right there. Two of the Vikings, just a wall on defense. Next play, this time Brandt's going to roll out. He's going to hit Hainerer on the run, and look at that diving extension, reaching out to get the touchdown, tying this one up at 7 apiece. Hey, it went down to the wire, back and forth, very worthy of being our game of the week, but Middleton takes it 21-14.
All right, up next, we head on over to Kuna. Bora traveling out to face the Cavemen last night after dropping the season opener. Man, the Lions have been rolling. They entered last night riding a 4-game winning streak. Early on, they were roaring on defense. In the first, excuse me, Mason McKenna gets the sack.
Into the second quarter, the Cavemen would threaten to take the lead, but 4th and 2, Austin Flaherty gets down the line of scrimmage to stop the ball carriers short of the sticks and going the other way. Look how close Kuna gets to his safety here. Dylan Lukengay just gets it away. Mason Monteleone for a 19-yard pickup, and then later on the same drive, Lukengay back at the school he once played for, I remind you, finds Ryan Lopez for a big gain over the middle. Now, a few plays later, Keegan Shearer pounding the rock across the goal line. That would make it 7-0. But there was plenty more where that came from. Bora started a little bit slow in this one, but guess what? They poured it on late. They pick up their 5th straight double-digit victory and blow out the Cavemen 35-7.
All right, with that, the Bora Lions join us in studio. How we doing, fellas? Good. We appreciate you joining us. And Mason, I'm going to begin with you because you guys stumble out of the gates. You suffer a close loss to Timberline, and you haven't lost since. What has been the difference for the Lions?
It's just a lot of hard work. Like, it didn't feel too good walking off that field after a walk-off field goal. And we've been wanting things to change pretty bad this season, especially after all the hard work we put in during the offseason. So, like, it's just been, since then, next play mentality. We've just been trying to work as hard as we can, just flush it, like, just forget about it. Yeah,
Mason, we saw you in the highlights. You made a couple of big plays. We showed the sack. Right after that, you made a TFL. If there's anything Kuna does well, they like to make a game, you know, they try to turn it into a fist fight and play defense, limit possessions, pound the rock. How ready were you guys for that level of physicality?
We were ready. I mean, as you saw, our defense likes to play physical, but we were simulating that all week in practice. And I think for our D-line, like, we're used to that type of physical play because I think we have some pretty big playmakers over at Bora, like Johnny Cerrone and Austin Flaherty. So, like, and Brennan Early right here, it's easy to go against a guy like that and be ready in the game because you have someone like him getting you ready all week.
So last time we guys talked, beginning of the season, it was coming off of a close loss. Since then, 5 straight wins for the Lions. You're one of the hottest teams in the state of Idaho right now. What's been that turnaround? How much do you guys dive into that grind set mindset and enjoy being seen as an underdog?
I mean, yeah, I feel like throughout our whole career in high school, we've always kind of been overlooked. I feel like all the Boise schools actually have been kind of overlooked. It's just, we have less players, so that means we get tired easier. We have to play both ways. So I feel like being able to overcome that and keep people looking down on us and us being able to overcome that has been really it's been really powerful this season, and all the Boise schools have really been making a name for themselves this season. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see.
That's absolutely true.
I agree. Timberline, Boise, you guys, yeah, I agree with that.
Let me ask you this though: when you like to be an underdog, enjoy having that chip on your shoulder. So many athletes play that way. Is it harder to do that when you rattle off 5 wins in a row against some great competition?
I mean, yeah, I think it definitely can be challenging at times, with less bodies and, not getting as good of a look at practice. It can be challenging to overcome that and not get down after a loss. But I feel like this year we've been such a tight-knit group that we've been able to, have that next play mindset, like Mason said, and be able to pick each other up rather than to get down and get in a slump.
It's funny. I've been doing this for a while. I've heard every cliche, I feel like. I've heard every motto. Where'd grind set mindset come from? You guys trademarked that yet?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've heard it a lot. I don't know. I think
just
really
part of the culture.
I'll buy a shirt if you guys are making shirts. That'd be nice with some green and gold.
About the culture though, I'm sure this could go for a lot of Boise schools, but like a lot of the kids at Bora, man, like how were you saying? It's like we get ourselves in a lot of hard situations. There's a lot of kids at Bora that come from rough backgrounds, and a lot of them that play football. And I'm really proud of those guys for coming out and competing through the season. And I think that's been huge for us this year, and I think that's what Bora is all about. And that's like I just wanted to mention that.
No,
like,
I'm right there with you.
It's huge for us. It's Bora tough. Like
yeah.
that's what we're about.
It's very evident in the way that you guys play. Many of you embrace playing on both sides of the ball. Who on the couch is the closest with Dylan Lukenga?
Me and Brennan, because we play O-line, but
yeah.
I could let Brennan speak on that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you guys have to protect this guy, and this week I'm assuming there might have been a little more angst by the opponent. Dylan played at CUNA, transfers over to Bora. How much did that win, that game, mean to him?
I think it meant a lot to him. He definitely, like Mason said earlier, he definitely circled this one in the schedule, and he really wanted to go out and get the W and wanted to make a statement.
Yeah, I mean, like, he grew up with those guys.
Yeah.
And all like that. So, just doing all that and then coming to a different school, it's definitely a type of, I wouldn't say revenge or anything like that, but it's something that he'll be circled and be wanting to play hard in and win and ultimately have that edge over his friends and all like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was on the CUNA sidelines where you enter the stadium, so I was shooting from their sideline, and I certainly heard a buzz that Dylan was back in CUNA. How good has he been for you guys this season?
I mean, yeah, he's been great, coming, especially taking a year off for transfer rules and everything, he's definitely stepped up in that role, and, he's been a really great, not only player, but a really good teammate and a humble leader. And, like, it was, even though this game was a big game for him and CUNA, he was very humble through it, and, lots of respect to those CUNA guys, too, for, they were respectful guys, and, it was a good win, but it wasn't chippy, and, just lots of respect to those guys, and, lots of respect to Dylan for being a humble leader.
Your guys' toughness kind of mirrors each other. I get you there.
It's always nice when it just means just a little bit more. As we take a look at the remaining schedule, only 2 games to go, 2 great teams, Mountain View and Eagle. And, I mean, you could assume with 5 wins, you guys are probably locked in the playoffs. But what do you see in these final 2 games and the opportunity to potentially play in the SIC championship if things go well?
I think it's going to be a hard battle these last 2 games. I think if we keep playing how we've been playing, I feel like we can get it done. It's all about in practice. If we can execute in practice and get it done in practice, I feel like we can play these 2 games well, and it'll be a good game. These last 2 games will be good games, and we're going from there.
How much do you feel like you guys have kind of found your stride, on both sides of the ball here? You kind of look at these last few games, 42 at Valley View, 37 against Capital. On the other side, the most points you've allowed, Capital 21. Outside of that, 14, 10, 13, and 7. You guys are playing pretty good on the defensive side of the ball right now as well.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things is when maybe stuff isn't going our way or things aren't working or stuff goes wrong, we're just going to keep swinging. Mm-hmm. We're going to keep playing our game. We're going to keep doing our thing, and that's been a big thing for us so far.
How much juice do you think there could be? The senior night, last guaranteed game over at Donald Larson Park. You guys get to host Eagle. I mean, really, regardless of what happens next week, that might determine who wins the pod and goes to the 6A SIC championship game. So what do you think that atmosphere is going to be like?
Yeah, it's going to be one of those games that we haven't really been able to experience yet. We haven't had a chance to win our pod in the past few years since we've been on varsity. So it's going to be a huge experience for us, and I think we're going to give it all we have, and we're just, like Brendan said, we're gonna keep swinging and just keep playing our game, and to echo on what our offensive coordinator, Coach McCarthy, always says, control what we can control, our attitude, effort, and preparation. So we're gonna stay locked in when it's preparation time and just control our attitude and effort.
Yeah, that's showing up on Friday nights, Thursday nights, whenever the heck you guys play. It's almost 11. We appreciate hanging out with us late on Friday. We'll get you out here on this one. Mason, I'm going to ask you this because you have an older brother. He's playing at Boise State right now. You've been around this Bora line program for quite a while. You know guys like Austin Bolton, the heights that he took Bora to at one point in time, the bluest of the blue collar, the toughest of the tough. To have a chance to enter the discussion with those types of teams at Bora, what does that mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. I've been going to Bora workouts since I think 7th grade, because my brother was there as a freshman, my dad was coaching there, so I was just trying to get that work and be like my brother, be like my dad. I was lifting the weights there, and I would always hear about how good the Austin Bull era was, if that's what they call it, and it would be awesome to be a part of a team like that in Bora history. Like it would be awesome.
I have no doubt if you guys can do it, you will. You guys are tough. It's been a joy to watch this ride. 5 in a row. Up next, Mountain View. We'll see if you guys can make it 6 in a row. And of course, we'll be there on the sidelines to capture. So, gentlemen, get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us. Second time this season, and heck, if you win state, like maybe we'll just bring it back for a 3rd time. Is that all right? All right, perfect. Sounds good,
You're
guys.
welcome anytime.
Yeah, right. All right, let's move on to some highlights here. And as we say thank you to the Bora Lions and turn them loose, we get on over to Meridian. Rocky Mountain traveled over to take on the Warriors. Meridian still looking for their 2nd win of the season. Early on, Wyoming commit Caden Kimball Turner makes a few guys miss on the 1st down run. That drive would eventually stall out, and Rocky settles for a Sawyer McClendon field goal to make it 3-0 Grizz. On to the 2nd quarter we go, same score. Meridian decides to go for it on 4th and 1 near midfield. Zeke Martinez gets the 1, then adds 19 more. That is as close as they would get to the end zone on that drive, though, because a few plays later, Rocky shuts this thing down. Owen Weatherly comes up with the big sack to end the scoring threat. On the ensuing drive for Rocky, LaGarry Mitchell Jr. is already getting scholarship offers. This is why he forces the sack and the fumble, then recovers the fumble. Yeah, pretty talented player right there. On the very next play, the Warriors go to their bag of tricks. Zeke hands it off, only to get it right back. The 21-yard TD reception made it 7-3 Warriors. Right before halftime, Rocky would find their footing, and it's usually the way that they find their footing. They just hand it off to Tayshawn Reese. He takes it across the goal line for 6. That gave Rocky the lead. They would never look back. They stay perfect on the season with a 30-7 victory.
Hey, Zeke Martinez playing some wide receiver, though. That's fun. All right, this is a weird one. Hawaii traveling to take on Eagle. The score at halftime, can you guess? It was 2-0 Storm.
Yeah,
Very defensive game between two great offenses. Didn't stop the crowd from bringing the heat. Early third quarter, Mustangs trying to get it moving. The wind playing a factor. It's a little off course. Hawaii's Cam Downey has the INT. A nice return. The Storm go celebrate a little too hard. They actually knocked Cam off his feet. Can't be doing that, guys. But Eagle would get the stop. By the end of the third quarter, they drive all the way down to the goal line. They're going to hand it off to Roman Walker, listed as a tight end, powering his way through like a fullback, though. He gets across the line, and at long last, we have our first touchdown of the game. Hawaii Eagle takes a 7-2 lead. So, ensuing drive into the fourth quarter, Hawaii finds themselves in a 4th and short situation. They decide they're going to go for it. Logan Hossfight keeps it, shows off the speed, rolls out to the left, gets the first down. He actually gets much more than that, and the Storm would continue to chew clock and pick up first downs. But later on, they find themselves in the red zone. That Mustang D wasn't giving them anything. Nice run by Cash Cahill, cut short by Jack Giannini and Dallin Snooks, teaming up to bring him out of bounds. Hawaii would settle for a field goal, so how about 4 minutes left in the game, no timeouts, 3rd and a couple. The Storm handed off to their ace. Noah Burnham goes up the middle, gets the first down, and they're going to be able to finish the game in victory formation. Like I said, it's a weird one. Eagle wins this 7-5. Not a score you see in the high school ranks a whole lot.
No, I don't know if I've ever seen 7-5 in football since I've worked here, Brady. It's been a while, too. All right, Boise hosted Mountain View over at Donna Larson Park this evening. The Mavs trying to halt their losing streak. Plays like this would certainly help. Despin Silas sacks Trevor Schoolfield trying to step up in the pocket and make a play. The Brave would be forced to punt. With Mountain View backed all the way up at their own 3, it looks for a moment like the Brave are about to get a safety. The running back kind of stumbles over his own feet. He goes down. He's down right there. The ball still over that white line. Should have been a safety. Guess what? It actually doesn't really matter because 2 plays later, the Mavs snap it over their punter's head for the safety. 2 points for the Brave. They go down 8. On that ensuing possession now, how about Trevor Schoolfield going over the middle to Jordan McDonald? Corbin Hedgecock comes up and delivers a blow, but McDonald somehow hangs on. Unfortunately for the Brave, they couldn't hang on to the drive because on the very next play, Hedgecock breaks on the ball, gets the interception. On to the 4th we go. Boise back with the ball, trying to tie the game down 8, but it's Hedgecock again. Picks it off at the goal line. That would basically seal Mountain View's fate. Mountain View wins 34-19. The losing streak is over for the Mavs. All right, another Thursday night matchup, a battle of winless teams at DLP. Centennial and Capital would fight for their first W of the season. We pick it up in the 3rd with the game tied at 14. On 3rd down, Shepard Fish forces the fumble. Logan Becker falls on it, and the Eagles are flying high in good field position. Speaking of flying high, my guy Jarrell Root doesn't quite soar like he used to. Hey, neither do I, though, Jarrell. Capital would capitalize. Braden Dudley hands it off to Austin Brown, who would power his way in for 6. That made it 21-14. That was just the beginning of a scoring surge for the Eagles. Later in the 3rd, Brown somehow slips out of a sack here, buys time. Check this out, Brady. Moving towards the sideline, he just kind of flips it to Nate Ortega for the tud. Yep, Capital finishes the game with 27 unanswered points. They pick up their first W of the season. They tack on a few style points, by the way. 41-14, the final. Capital wins.
Hey, great to see them get back on track. They've looked good this season. I'm glad they finally put it together. All right, let's head over to Emmett. The Huskies hosting Columbia tonight. Before the game got started, they had a special event. Take a look at number 70 in blue there. That's Jason Greenman, a special needs student who's a huge part of this team. They had him line up at running back and get the game started with his first career touchdown. That's Columbia and Emmett both celebrating with him. Very cool. Into the game, 4th and goal. Emmett's going to go for it. Ryder Sheeby takes the snap, pitches it to Nesson Carell. He powers in for the early touchdown. Emmett takes a 6-0 lead. Later on, same quarter, similar situation. Emmett on the goal line, giving it to their power back, Lincoln Thane. They actually sounded the fire truck celebration arm a little bit too early on this one before he was in the end zone. He got into the end zone anyways. They ended up converting the 2-point conversion as well. That made it 14-0. Later on, Columbia trying to make something happen. They throw a screen. It's not caught, and it's backwards. So that's a live ball. Emmett's there first. They recover it. They get some great field position. And once again, a little bit of deja vu. They go right back to Thane. He powers away across the goal line. Once again, another rushing TD. Take a look at this crowd, by the way. Those are the Emmett youth players just going absolutely crazy on the south end zone.
Future Friday night footballers right there.
Oh, yeah. They're waiting for their moment. Hey, Emmett celebrates a big win tonight. They take care of business 35-14.
By the way, I'm pretty sure last week at the Boise State game, they fired up the fireworks before Ashton actually scored on his on his second to last touchdown run, the 59-yarder. But he scored anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Broke a few tackles. I think the scoreboard operator just was that intuitive. Like he knew,
it's got to be tough when you're the defense, though, and they already have the firework off, and you're like, well, I could get him.
No, you couldn't.
Not Genty.
Not Genty, and apparently not that player for Emmett as well. All right, let's get some Bishop Kelly highlights. The Knights off to a great start this season, 4-1. Meanwhile, Skyview looking for their first victory of the season, 0-5 so far. The Knights defense was bringing it tonight. Jack Henderson gets after the Skyview quarterback for the 4-yard loss. Skyview would punt. Then BK running back Ryan Arellano picks up a tough 10-yard gain. Skyview's defense does come up with a big tackle here, though. How about Griffin Brady? Giving a little TFL, tripping up the ball carrier. On the next play, BK's Ben Avella finds Arellano for another 10-yard pickup. When we were there, these two defenses were trading blows. BK would score 24, though, but Skyview shut out. The Knights improved to 5-1 on the season.
All right, let's jump over to Ridgeview. Valley View taking on, hey, you've heard of Ashton Genty. How about Cashton Genty, though, Jay?
Ooh, I like it.
I love a creative sign. All right, start of the third quarter. Valley View with the ball up 21-7. Emerson Waldall takes the handoff, breaks free for 15. Next play, Emerson Waldall again. This time, how about another 20? That sets up a great play right here. A nice fake out. It faked everyone out, including our camera guy. But Valley View gets the touchdown, goes up by another 6 points. The PAT would be blocked by the goalpost, one of the best defenders in the local ranks, by the way, especially on that left side. It's tricky. Next Valley View possession, they're going to drive it all the way down to the 10-yard line, and the keeper by quarterback Isaac Moore is so close. Not quite there, not quite there. Don't worry, they're going to get a chance to try it again. This time it's Isaac Moore, and this time he gets through. Valley View wins this one 44-7 as the final.
All right, a couple more highlights for you. We head on over to NAA Christian. They were hosting Parma. We picked this one up in the second quarter, and it was already 48-0. Trojans running back Matthew Navarez rips off a huge 20-yard gain right there. The next play, the Trojans fumble the snap, and Parma's Jackson Graham recovers it. Okay, good news for Parma. There wasn't a ton of it tonight for them, unfortunately. Halftime, some fun there. Back onto the third quarter now. First play from scrimmage. And it's Parma that fumbles their own snap. NAA Christian's Navarez recovers it 2 plays later. They hand it off to Navarez for a short 2-yard touchdown run. That made it 55-0. I'm not sure if we have a final score. I don't know if it matters because I'm guessing Parma didn't have the greatest comeback in the history of football at any level. We got it texted to us, though, 208-321-5614. Again, 208-321-5614. We're taking your final scores, but a big victory for NAA Christian.
Heck of a game for Navarez. He was all over that highlight reel.
Yeah, both sides.
All right, let's jump over. We got one last one to show you. We head out to Owyhee High School. It's not Owyhee playing, though. It's the McCall Donnelly Vandals taking on Coal Valley Christian. The Chargers into the first quarter. McCall Donnelly driving downfield. They throw to the sideline. It's tipped up, and Aiden Shanks comes down with the interception to get it in the Chargers' hands. Well, Coal Valley couldn't make anything happen with that drive, but the Vandals found a lot of success on the ground. Next time up, they get a pair of touchdowns, including this one. Colt Value taking a 13-0 lead after that short run. Later on, Value's back at it. I'll tell you what, Jay, provided a lot of value to the offense tonight. Look at that one. Nearly broke it all the way. They finally get him down. But guess what? He set up his teammate, Maddox Arnold, who scores on the following play for the Vandals, their third rushing touchdown of the half. McCall Donnelly also doing work on defense tonight. Their D-line batting up multiple balls out of the sky. The Chargers unable to break through. Vandals shut them out 43-0 as the final. Nice win.
All right, we do have some more scores for you. We get to our scoreboard, and Mountain Home wins a tough battle, squeaking by Jerome 18-14 the final. Rigby putting it on Highland 33-3. Minico, an impressive offensive showing, 43-14 over Idaho Falls. Buell takes down Gooding 32-14. Heading up north, Lake City knocking off Sandpoint 20-14. Weezer and Homedale. How about this score, Brady?
That is shocking.
I know Weezer's got a squad this year.
But
yeah, I know Weezer's got a squad this year, but Homedale, they don't lose very many games, and they certainly don't lose very many games by 24 points. Man, how about that one?
That's a huge win.
Big win, yeah.
Let's go Wolverines.
And finally, Glens Ferry, not enough against Valley. Valley takes care of business 48-12, the final of that one. So week 6.
Yeah.
Officially in the books. We have 2 more weeks, at least in most classifications, of matchups we know about. 3 total weeks, I would say, of regular season football remaining before the playoffs begin. I will say this, though. It was 80 degrees at kickoff. It is October 4th, and I will take that any day of the week.
It got cold, man. Was the wind not affecting you?
No, there was a bit of a storm that blew in.
Standing up.
The weather gods noticed right when I hit send on that tweet, and that's actually about 3 minutes later, I felt a big gust of wind, and allergy started to get to me with the dust. I couldn't really make it through the first highlights there. So thank you to my producer extraordinaire, Danny, for running me some water there so I could regain myself there. But no, it was, for the most part, though, a beautiful night, and it's not freezing out, so I'll take it.
Yeah, we've had some good luck. No, It's been clear skies, at least. I'll take that every time.
Knock on wood there.
Shout out to every team who had the guts to throw the ball in that wind, by the way.
Yeah, right?
It was tough.
Yeah, but, I mean, things are really starting to take shape, especially the 6A classification. We have the Bora Lions in the studio. You know, in that pot, it's really gonna come down to them and Eagle. It really feels like.
Yeah, which is not like they will tell us first, not what a lot of people had thought heading into the season. But that's the thing that's exciting. Yeah. They're a team that's peaking at the right time, playing their best football as we head into October. Yeah. Hopefully, they'll play even better football once November rolls around.
That was a big win for CUNA, or a big win for Bora over CUNA, because now that gives them the head-to-head tiebreaker. So even if CUNA wins out, it feels like Bora is just in a really, really good spot to maybe play in that SIC championship game. They will have to find a way to take down Eagle, and that's not going to be an easy task. You've seen Eagle a few times this year. Noah Burnham's outstanding. Love the quarterback play they're getting. They're really tough on defense. You know, they're really tested by West Lynn in the showdown game to start the season. And since then, I mean, man, they have been darn near flawless.
It's weird, though. This was the first game in a couple weeks that they haven't hung at least 50 points on their opponent. I mean, Hawaii is a tremendous defensive opponent, but it was kind of nice to see them lean on their defense and be able to squeak by in a really close, really weird game. Yeah. I think I told you I showed up there shortly after the second half started. I thought there was an error on the scoreboard because I just could not imagine that these two teams would combine for 2 points tonight.
You're so right, by the way. Looking at their last few games, the Eagles scored 68 points, 43 points, and 52 points before scoring just 7 tonight. The Storm are very sound on defense. They've had some struggle at the quarterback position.
Had some injuries.
Some injuries, some inconsistency. From my understanding, there could be some help on the way. They're getting a little creative at that position, but we'll have to see that if that actually does play out in a couple of weeks, because there are only 3 games remaining, 3 guaranteed games remaining after this evening. You look at Eagles' schedule and what they have left, and you know it is kind of interesting because they don't have to play Rocky in the regular season, and
which is a shame.
It's a shame. I don't know if it was by design necessarily, because you would also hate for those two teams to be, you know, on the schedule together in week 8 and have to flip right around and
that's fair.
You know, play each other in the SIC title game that following week.
But that is a matchup we have looked forward to. I mean, they've been number 1 and number 2 in the state media poll for quite some time. Yeah. Pretty exciting that we'll eventually get to see them meet up, hopefully in the playoffs or championship game or otherwise. It'd be pretty fun to see Bora close this out, though, and get their opportunity to try to go win a division title.
You know, the Boise School District, as those guys, you know, so eloquently were explaining, they're kind of counted out at times. And so it would be kind of cool to see if they could, potentially find a way to get it done and get to the SIC championship game. So, yeah, as we just kind of look over this, Owyhee 0-3 in pod play, that's tough. But if you do kind of look at who they have left, I mean, they get Boise, who's fighting for their playoff lives, and Mountain View basically has to win out. And, the Storm have lost 3 straight games, all defensive battles. If they can figure it out offensively, they could play with just about anybody, it feels like.
One more notable one I want to bring up as we talk about how close these have gotten. Middleton is actually right with Rocky Mountain in the foothill division of the Southern Idaho Conference. They're going to have their shot to get into that championship SIC game as well. They have been lights out. Both are undefeated so far in conference, pod, whatever you want to call it, in that play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we are approaching the end of this thing, so everything's kind of really starting to take shape. And
it's always sad.
You get to the middle of the season, and you're like, oh, this is fun. And then, like, 2 weeks later, you realize, like, oh, man, there's not, like, a ton of season left, especially for, us here on Friday Night Football, because we usually cover the first week of the playoffs, and then we just kind of go back to our normal newscast. But Rocky Mountain, their remaining games, you just brought up Middleton. They have to go to they get to host Middleton, and they host Timberline, so they get to host they might be at home for quite a while, because if they get to host their final 2 games, who knows, they got a good chance to host the SIC championship, and then they'll have a few games in the playoffs that they could very well host because of their seeding. So
great atmosphere too.
Yeah,
that's a school where the home crowd goes a long way.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's a good point that you brought up, though, because that is a really, really big game between Middleton and Rocky Mountain next week. And then you have Timberline kind of sitting there at 2-1 in conference play, and they still have to play Rocky Mountain in the final game of the regular season, going over to play the Grizz at their place. They get Centennial next week. So, I mean, this really is kind of coming down to the end of the year. Between all these teams in either pod.
It's kind of funny. It's a similar storyline in a lot of these. You kind of have the legacy kind of year in, year out great teams, state title contenders, and again these underdog teams who have had recent turnarounds, whether it's this season or a couple years ago, who are really putting it together. There's a lot of fun storylines to look at as we get ready to close this out over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, getting ready to close it out tonight. Again, any final score, highlight, whatever you need, we have that available for you at KTVB.com. Zach Armstrong is in the newsroom right now, making sure everything is updated and ready to go. And, of course, we have a great team here, and we love to give shout-outs.
That's right. Danny Alsop, super producer. Dog. Jason Foster, our photographer. Dog. I actually don't know Kevin's last name.
Kevin Esslinger. Dog.
That's right. I could have come up with that. Yeah. And then we had a Boise State student come in and help us out tonight. You saw it in those Coal Valley Christian highlights. He did a great job. Excited to learn. A guy who wants to get into sports broadcasting. This is how you do it. You go out and get the reps. So shout out Moses tonight for all your work. Great work. Am I missing somebody?
I think we got it all. Everybody else behind the scenes, we appreciate you for making this all possible, staying up late with us, pulling off this show. A few more weeks remain here on Friday Night Football. And one more reminder, anything you missed, it is available for you at KTVB.com. You good?
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Bronco Roundup game day.
4 o'clock.
Not at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
Not at 9 a.m.
We will be sleeping in just a little bit tomorrow. Finally, a little bit later of a... the kickoffs have always been late. This one's actually a little earlier, I'd say, but we found a nice little window to be live on the Blue that hour before kickoff in between a bunch of Big Ten football on Channel 7.
That's right.
We will see you then. We appreciate you watching.
Has a lot of nice things to say about Ashton Genty. Actually nice.
They do, actually. They got a lot of good compliments.
They're very complimentary.
Yeah. I don't know if you can say anything bad about the guy right now.
It'd be hard to.
All right. For Brady, Frederick, and the rest of our crew, I'm Jay Tust. This is Friday Night Football. We'll see you next week for Week 7.